I think he's one of the greatest athletes.
Oh, he's amazing.
Yeah.
He just didn't have the supporting cast. The Warriors had too deep a team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy, J.R. Smith, though, was just lights out.
Yeah, he was the last two games. He played well, especially the last.
All right, so let's see if we can kind of get into it really soon here.
Let's go.
That would be good. And so, Coach, if you remember the first 2 minutes, we just do like a little introduction, how we're going to be introducing you. How do you want us to introduce you?
Coach Ron Tunick, business coach and radio host. That's what I am.
Cool.
Coach.
Where are you from, Ron?
Born and raised in the San Fernando Valley. In 1968, I moved to Thousand Oaks. Do you know where that is?
Sure.
And spent the last, all my adulthood, basically. I got married at 20.
Wow.
So from 20 to 60, 40 years I spent at Thousand Oaks.
Wow. How old are you now?
91.
I was just kidding. You said 60 because we're about to. If you're close to my age, I'm 65 now.
I'm 71, but you.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
Time goes by fast when you're having a good time.
Yeah.
Well, we've both been blessed. We're both here, and
Yeah.
you have a great voice, and you sound very young. I don't like giving my people's age because when you get to a certain age in our society, people, the perception is, okay, you're a nice guy, but I'm going to write you off.
Oh, no, you know, Eva can't find a job.
No.
You know, she's been out there looking
All
at
her experience in life, and people don't. You know what they want? They want to hire young, cheap, so they can manipulate them. That's basically that's the corporate.
I'll give you a job.
Yeah.
I'll give you a job. Look at when we get off the air. Look at these two sites: merchantcentric.com. Merchant. I'm one of the owners of the company. Merchantcentric. We're the largest in the country of fixing people's internet problems with Yelp or their social media.
Cool.
Yeah, and you still do nations transactions, right?
Yeah.
Where they do, credit card stuff.
One of my best offices back in the 80s and 90s was in San Francisco. So if I could ever convince you to work in the merchant processing business, you would work on the phone calling internet merchants. There's still a lot of money with internet merchants. There's no money in retail anymore, but there's still money with internet if you like internet.
Hey, how do you guys know each other anyway?
Well, actually, from the original show that I was on KNBR, it was Ken Winans and Coach.
Right.
And then Ken asked me to join them.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. All right. All right, you guys ready?
Yeah.
Let's
do it.
Welcome. You're listening to Sports Econ 101, the show where we discuss sports topics from a business perspective. I'm your host, Edward Brown, along with my co-host, Bruce McGowan.
And today we are truly going to discuss business topics from a sports topic.
Sports topics from a business perspective. That's right, because we have Coach Ron Tunick, who is a business coach and radio host, and also the reason they call him Coach, we'll find out when we get to him in the second segment.
Show him some respect.
That's right. That's right. In fact, Coach and I used to do a sports show on KNBR.
Back in the day. Back when I was working there. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a while ago.
Yeah.
So anyway, at each commercial break, we're going to ask a sports trivia question. In fact, this one's probably good for all of us old folks. Baseball for grandpas.
Baseball
for grandpas.
Oh yeah.
All right. And
I'm a grandpa age, but I'm not a grandpa yet, so I guess I qualify.
And I'm neither.
And Ron is also.
That's right, and he actually is a grandpa.
He is, and I should be.
Nine grandkids.
Holy
grandkids!
He's already on the phone with us.
Eight grand boys and one granddaughter, and I got one really good athlete in Oregon, Jackson, and my granddaughter's a golfer. She's
there you go. Women's golf, they can make good money doing that.
I bet she's a princess, being the only granddaughter.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Okay.
We'll get into that in a minute because Coach is a big Oregon Ducks fan.
There you go.
All right, so this segment of Sports Econ 101 is sponsored by Pacific Private Money, providing mortgage investments that are still currently yielding over 7.5%. In fact, I got my latest distribution, and it was closer to 8%.
Sweet.
Not bad.
Not bad.
It doesn't get any more conservative than that. Please check them out at pacificprivatemoney.com.
Wait a second, I'm a liberal, though. How can I be for a conservative thing when I'm a liberal? I'm
Who said it's conservative?
I'm just teasing.
Conservative. There you go.
I like to tease.
Conservative investment.
I love to just tease that word. I like to get him started. He gets all flustered. You should see it.
Get flustered.
No.
I'm conservative. You're liberal. That's
we are, and we get along.
We get along very
At the end of the day, we hold hands and we sing Kumbaya.
That's it, exactly. Because I show you the right way to be and you turn around. No, I'm just kidding. All right.
That's true.
Stay with us. Where's Econ 101? We'll be right back.
We have such a good time on this show.
I know.
I always like to throw Edward a curveball once in a while just to keep him honest. He does the same thing.
And I do the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. We do. We have fun. I think that's why this show's worked for what? It's been almost 4 years? It has been 4 years.
It's been 4 years, yeah.
God.
Yeah, it's
It
amazing
goes by so fast. Time goes by too fast. As you get older, it seems to fly by.
Yeah.
Today's surf session was just, I felt like I had just gotten in the water and now I'm almost like, hey, it's over.
How long did you spend in there?
Hour and a half. Small waves.
Where did you go today?
Went to Rodeo Beach. It was very nice, very sweet.
Yeah, because that's not that far away.
Not
Rodeo
that far.
Beach,
20-minute drive.
Okay.
Yeah, it was small waves, but it was just perfect conditions. The temperature was 72.
Oh.
A little bit of wind, just beautiful.
Good stuff. All right, Ron, you ready to go?
I'm ready.
Okay,
Here we go.
All right. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Again, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Bruce McGowan. Bruce, who do we have on the phone?
You introduce him.
Okay, it's Coach Ron Tunick, business coach and radio host. Hey, Coach, why do they call you Coach?
Years ago, when you were in diapers, I was a baseball coach at Cal Lutheran, which is a small Christian college in Thousand Oaks. Couldn't make a living teaching. I was also a teacher there. Couldn't make a living teaching or coaching. So one of his dad owned a bank with a liking to me. He hired me at 3 times what I was making. I was making $817.56. Offered me $2,500 to run its marketing for the bank. So wait till my contract was up, took the job, first day of the job, he goes, "Hey, Coach, get in here." He put Coach on my business card and been there ever since.
Isn't that funny how nicknames stick? I remember years and years ago, I was working for KNBR Radio, and the big boss came up and goes, "We have to give you a nickname. Everybody's got one here." I just thought, oh, God, the idea of a nickname. He goes, "You're a tall guy. How about if we call you Big Bruce McGowan?" Then he sent out a directive. From now on, it's Big Bruce McGowan. Oh, no, please don't. And I was stuck with that nickname for 17 years. So annoying. I still have.
You know that Edward and I were on KNBR for a year. We survived a year.
Yeah.
Oh, man, you did a good job. I survived there for 17 and a half years, which I don't know how I did it, but I did. So, I had a great time, actually.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
Well, actually, yeah, and ours was more of sports and business, whereas, Bruce, you were doing just strictly sports.
Just strictly sports, yeah.
Okay. So, Coach, you and I talked a day or so ago, and we were talking about what we were going to talk about today, and you had some really good ideas about, with the athletes' salaries, et cetera.
Well, a couple ideas. 3 things I want to talk about today. I want to talk about luck. We'll save that for last. I think the thing that grinds on me, you guys, is the money that is being paid to these athletes. Baseball, football, basketball. Let's take baseball as an example. Here you have kids who can barely hit above 200, making millions of dollars a year. And what I said to you the other day, Edward, was I don't see the entertainment value there. I really don't. Yes, I'll pay to see Clayton Kershaw. I'll pay to see, some guys that you're not going to see in a lifetime. But the other 90% of these athletes are overpaid. So my angst is this. Guess who's paying for these overpaid athletes? We are.
That's right. Well,
go to a baseball game at Dodger Stadium, you guys. Our team. The food. I mean, you take a family of 4 there, you're not going to get away with less than $150.
No.
So my angst is how many families in America can experience professional sports in person? And obviously we all know that the revenue is coming from these huge TV contracts that they signed. So that's another thing. Here's what's really got me angst. So the other night I was watching the Dodger broadcast. How many commercials do you think took place in an hour?
Oh, gosh.
Well, depends on how many innings are being played. Yeah.
But still, you got to have at least
4 per break. Or 6
yeah,
per break,
6
yeah.
per break,
You have 3-minute breaks, yeah.
Yeah.
Those 60 commercials.
60
commercials. And let's say just being on the low side of what an advertiser is going to pay. $10,000. Would you agree $10,000?
Minimum. Yeah.
Okay.
In a market like LA, maybe more like 20,000.
What, for a 1-minute commercial?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I mean,
on a
not
Dodger
for
broadcast.
for a non playoff
Oh,
game.
Oh yeah. Those guys make it.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I'm being kind. So let's say 600,000 per hour. The ball games go 3 hours. There's $1.8 million. I mean, now we know where the money's coming.
Oh yeah, no question. You know, it's amazing though. We all are part of this. We're all complicit. Those of us in the media don't have to pay, so we're more than happy to give lip service to the owners and the fans. You know, they think, it's a big deal, but hey, we only do this a few times a year, so we're going to spend. Nobody. We all complain about it, but nobody does anything, and I don't really know what we can do about it.
I think there's some movement, you guys. Here's what I see occurring in my own house. I see with my buddies. I have coffee 2 mornings a week at Starbucks, and we talk about this all the time. Guys are, I'm going to use the word taping everything, and now they're avoiding the commercials.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I did that even with the Warrior games, even though I, technically wanted to watch them live. Which reminds me, for the final for Game 5, I about 3 hours ahead of time, I just decided for fun to check one of the StubHub type or Ticketmaster, one of those things, right? Take a guess as to how much they wanted for a seat.
Oh, I know somebody paid $190,000 for 2 seats.
190. Okay, I was gonna say it was $100,000, and the seat wasn't even on the floor.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like it wasn't
people are
the
crazy.
upper level. But I'm thinking,
They're
you
crazy.
know what? Here's the funny thing is that if you're fortunate enough to be able to have season tickets, you can actually pay for your whole season ticket by
No
selling
question.
that.
You know what's interesting too? If you scan the stands in the best seats, you look at most of the people are older and they're white. They've been doing it for a long time. They've been like these working class folks that suddenly realized, oh my God, I'm paying too much money. But somehow they made it work. And I've talked to some of these people, and they're really amazing. They share the tickets with 3 or 4 other couples, and they go as different, in different. They figure out incrementally which games they're going to go to, and it works out pretty well.
I mean, I remember when the Warriors were not good, and my company was just starting out. We toured it, and we could have sat right behind the announcers. You don't want to sit behind the players because they're too tall,
Sure,
that low.
Yeah,
and we could have gotten them for $8,000 a ticket.
Wow,
which now looking back was very good.
Yeah, no, it is. It is.
Now, the NBA is really interesting. If you look at the history in the last 35, 40 years, they really have their ups and downs. I mean, there was a period where people weren't watching the NBA. There's a period where the NBA players were all playing this gangster role, and then O'Brien came in as the new commissioner, and said he had to dress up and act like a human being and act professional, and that kind of made a big difference. So now you have incredible talent that is really, when you look at Kevin and your guy Steph and my guy LeBron, these are talented athletes. You can't take your eyes off of it. And there's a few more of these guys around. Westbrook for Oklahoma. So you've got some really talented athletes that if you're a fan like the 3 of us are, you really want to watch these guys.
You know what's really interesting about this whole thing too, and I think one of the reasons basketball has such a huge following globally is it's very much like soccer, and the game is not real from a casual fan who doesn't know much about the game. It's not real sophisticated.
It's fast paced though.
It's fast paced, but you put the ball in the net. In soccer, you put the ball in the net. Hockey, you put the ball.
And you can see the ball being scored on hockey, which I can figure out. But Bruce, you're a good athlete. You go to Europe right now, probably get $1 million and be a 3-point shooter.
Yeah, I was going to say when you were saying about some of these guys getting paid millions for hitting right around 200. I think the 3 of us could hit 200.
Well, you think about.
I can hit 200.
Yeah. You think about it, there are probably about 850 guys playing in the major leagues, and even the lousy ones, though, would be stars at any level of the minor leagues. But it is true, some of them, compared to the old days, I remember the marginal players were making, what your average working class guy was making. But it's a different world. It is a different world, admittedly. I mean, Steph Curry is going to get about $35 million a year, and that's only half of his contract with what is it, Under Armour or whatever that company is called, where he does his little shirts. I mean, he makes $70 million a year. There's reasons why these guys start their own foundations.
Oh yeah,
charitable
when
works.
you look at Steph making that kind of money, and I know Bruce, you tend to go to the liberal side. I don't have if a doctor is saving lives, brain heart surgeon. I don't care what they make. They could make $1 billion a year.
Oh, yeah.
On TV Live.
Sure.
I get the entertainment value from a Steph Curry, but the rest of the other 90%, no. Anyway, so that's my angst.
Well, but no, I think it's a lot of it. The players' unions. Of course, it went the other way, where if you get all the collusion going on between the owners, paying them $50,000 a year, what are they going to do? Anyway, guys, we're going to cut to our first commercial break. Trivia question is. Baseball for grandpas. All right. So, Coach, if you know the answer, don't say anything yet. We'll let you answer when we come back. Okay. Here's our first grandpa question. Manager John McGraw was most noted for having the helm of the New York Giants for 31 seasons. Which team did he begin his managerial career with? All right.
Good question.
That's definitely a grandpa question.
I know that one.
Older. See, there you go. You're grandpa for it.
Yeah.
All right, so that's our trivia question. Email edward@sportsecon101.com the answer to that question, all right? And don't touch that dial because we're going to be right back.
I used to have a boss, Bob. You guys remember Bob Agnew? He's the program director at KNBR.
Don't say we're going back.
Email you? Do you get people?
You know what? Sometimes it's just lately I've been asking harder questions.
Yeah.
And the thing is, see, I don't know when the broadcasts are around the country, and so a lot of people, they may listen and they may go, oh, this is a rebroadcast, it's too late to answer.
Yeah, sometimes this show's on a Saturday, sometimes it's on a Sunday. It just depends on, I think the Armed Forces runs it on Sundays. Sunday afternoons, yeah.
What station in San Francisco are you guys on?
We're not on a station in San Francisco. Matter of fact, I don't think we're on any station in California, are we?
I think there may be some small ones down
in the south part of the state. Yeah, none in the Bay Area, though.
No.
None in the Bay Area.
It's all internet driven now?
It's internet,
well, we're
iHeart.
about 200 terrestrial stations.
Yeah, 200 terrestrial stations. Armed Forces Radio Network, which goes worldwide, which is a...
Well, it used to be last year I was on, you guys were on the San Francisco station.
No, it's always been no. The business show
is
on. That was on Talk 910, and it got changed. It used to be Fox News Radio years ago, and then now we're on KDOW and KTRB.
KTRB.
Yeah, 860 The Answer.
Yeah. The Answer. Of course I know it.
Really?
Oh yeah, you got it.
I remember when we were on KBR, we would get Bruce, we'd get 20, 30 callers. I mean, it was
Well, yeah, you remember.
Radio used to be a viable medium. I mean, it still is in certain areas, but it's just, most radio stations really got hit hard.
Well, I'm going to tell you what. When we come back, I want to tell a story about it.
Cool.
Answer the question, and I'll
Sure.
get into that. It was funny. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Bruce McGowan. Here is our first trivia question. Manager John McGraw was most noted for having the helm of the New York Giants for 31 seasons. Which team did he begin his managerial career with? Coach, do you know the answer to that?
The Brooklyn Dodgers.
No, the Baltimore Orioles.
Baltimore Orioles.
Yeah. And they had a great team back in the 1890s too. I'm trying to remember. They had a guy. What was his name? He was an amazing. Willie Keeler hit him where they ain't.
Yeah.
He was something else. I remember those days well.
All right, so we have Coach Ron Tunick on the phone, calling in from Southern California, and I want to.
And we're not going to hold that against him.
No.
People who don't listen to this show. Most of the people who listen to the show don't live in California, so they don't know about the rivalry that goes on between North and South, but it is intense.
It is.
It's kind of cool.
I mean, I don't dislike the Dodgers. Don't tell anybody, but I don't dislike the Dodgers.
I don't dislike them anymore. I used to when I was a kid. I used
to.
Hate them.
Of course, with Drysdale, and they used to beat us up all the time.
In comes Tommy. In comes Maury. Here comes Willie Davis, and the Dodgers lead 5-4. Oh my!
That's a pretty good.
I used to hate that. I'd hear that on the radio, and I just.
Well, so I wanted to tell this story because Coach and I used to be on KNBR doing a sports and business show, and I had this resort that I like to give away some trivia question prizes to. And at first, I thought, okay, I'm going to come up with these questions. I go, okay, I'm going to come up with this really hard question. Well, I came up with such a hard question that we had literally only 3 people call in, and all of them were way off. So nobody won the prize. And during the week, I thought, God, Edward, dummy, that's the opposite. You want people to come visit and all that kind of stuff. So make the question easier. So the next week I get on and I say, okay, last week we asked this really hard question. Nobody knew the answer. So this week we're going to make it a little bit easier. Here's the question. Super Bowl III, Jets versus Colts. Who was the quarterback of the Jets? And here's a hint. His name rhymes with Glow Baymouth. And within 10 seconds, the board almost blew up. It was literally like a Christmas tree.
Everybody knew that one. Yeah.
I literally had to. You take a break, and I had to go to the bathroom. I was laughing so hard.
That's great. That was a great time for the city of New York. Think about it. The Jets won in '68, the Mets won in '69, and the Knicks won in '70. Boom, 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 just like that.
And what was it? Was it Philadelphia where they? No, because they didn't win. No, Pittsburgh won.
Pittsburgh won the same year. The Pirates and the Steelers, '79. Yeah.
But didn't the Flyers win too?
Flyers
or basketball?
Yeah, there was. And I'm trying to remember. There was. Well, the Phillies were very good in those years, but yeah, I think the Sixers and did the Sixers win? Not the same year as the Flyers.
Where they won all three of them.
Really?
Maybe it was a New York. Maybe it was a New York team.
Yeah, probably.
But I remember Pittsburgh's the only team where all three major sports have the same colors.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
good knowledge.
Right. So, Coach, you there?
Yeah.
Okay.
When we ended the last segment, you were saying, well, what do we do about these very expensive professional sports tickets and the food and the parking and everything else?
What can we do?
Let me ask you both a question, or let me ask you both two questions. Have you guys been to a professional sport, and what do you think the average age of the attendance is? Do you see the 25-year-old there, or do you see the 55-year-old there?
I see more 50.
My question goes, what's going to happen in 10 years if the younger kids, I'm not going to call them snowflakes, but the millennials don't make the money that you two make to be able to go to professional?
Yeah, well, it's going to hurt. You're going to have teams playing in front of half-empty arenas is what you're going to have.
There you go.
Yeah.
So if the percent, well, now there's a lot of, how many people go to a Marlins game down in Florida?
Three.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Three.
More people at a high school game there is at a Marlins game. I was watching a little bit this morning, the Cleveland Indians and the Dodgers, and the stadium was half full. So how many stadiums really are half full to 30% full? So it's interesting to see what's going to happen in the next 5 to 10 years.
Well, sometimes they do have situations where there are season tickets and people just haven't used them. But not in baseball, you're not going to have that many season ticket holders, relatively speaking. But with all these matrix type things, don't they do it like an airplane where they just at some point there's going to be a supply and demand?
Well, a lot of teams have been smart about the way they have a thing that's called I think it's called competitive pricing or. Yeah. Where they price, say, a giant Dodger game will cost you $30, but if you want to go see the Toronto Blue Jays come to town, you only have to pay $15.
Oh yeah, they've got all these packages. You guys have not been to Dodger Stadium lately, so
no.
During the years that you guys were crying off the air, there all the outfield there were no signs. There were maybe 2 or 3 signs. When you go to Dodger Stadium now, the whole stadium, all the outfield is
advertising?
Signage, digital signing, huge signs in the outfield.
Oh yeah.
Kind of reminds me of the early 1900s.
Yeah, well they're making they're making a ton of money. I've seen it's a big business. Sports has become a huge business, and they're making tons of money. Everybody is making money except for the fans. And the fans don't care because it's entertainment to them. 90% of them don't bitch and moan about it. The 10% that do just make a little noise, and then they still pay whatever they pay to go to the games.
As Coach was mentioning that before, is like someone like me. I've got my little mini home theater, right?
Yeah. Why do you need to go to a game?
Exactly. Who wants to fight the traffic, the parking?
Bingo. Yeah.
And this way I can stop and go to the bathroom.
They don't need crowds anymore because they can get all their money from television and advertising. The crowd is just like that's sort of the dressing on the salad or the cherry on top.
But how weird would it be to watch a game where there's, let's say, 10 people in the stands?
I don't think that'll ever happen, but I guarantee you there's a lot. Unless you win on a regular basis. Look at the San Francisco Giants, for instance. They're gonna lose finally this year their long string of sellouts because their team is terrible. And I think finally at about July, maybe mid-July, people are going to realize that and think to themselves, "I got better things to do."
Still selling out?
They believe it or not, are still selling out. But I guarantee you, by the time the team hits the All-Star break, they will not be selling out anymore. Because people are just not going to.
Great stadium, though.
It is. It's a wonderful stadium.
The atmosphere. It's kind of a happening thing.
It is.
Go there, I get it. But
so, Coach, tell me. I was going to say that yesterday, a couple of days ago when we were talking about. Tell Bruce what you told me about when you came to Levi Stadium.
Oh, yeah. What was your impression of Levi's Stadium, Coach?
Yeah, I loved. First of all, we took the family there. Our tickets, I think, were $1,400.
What'd you go see?
We saw the Atlanta Falcons and the miserable. And I used to be a 49er fan.
Yeah.
I tell you, it was a miserable game.
Yeah.
For the first time in my life, I've never seen this occur. Who's your starting quarterback for the 49ers? Gabbert?
Well, it was for a while last year. Gabbert was, and then Kaepernick took over. Yeah.
So Gabbert gets hurt for one play. I've never seen this happen. Gabbert gets hurt for one play, and Crappy Nick comes in.
Crappy Nick.
Yeah.
I never heard him called that. That's a new one. Crappy Nick. I love it.
Sorry.
That's okay. That's okay.
I'm sorry.
No, I get a kick out of that. That's funny.
Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah.
Comes in, the entire stadium stands up and boos.
Yeah.
I've never ever seen that.
I've seen it. I remember they used to do that for John Brody at Kezar Stadium. They not only boo, they'd throw half full bottles of beer at him.
Whoa.
And they used to, they had at Kezar Stadium, they had to put a cover over the entrance to from the tunnel where the players would come in and go out, because fans used to throw bottles at the players, and the players were always told, keep your helmet on until you get undercover.
Yeah.
Because one guy was hit in the head with a bottle once.
So by the time, the tickets were $1,400.
Individual tickets?
1,400 by or
What?
No, not individual. I mean,
Not individual.
All 4 tickets.
No,
Yeah.
4 by 4. And
Okay.
then the food cost, I think, cost me by halftime. I was in my pocket for $200.
Where are you guys sitting, in a luxury box or something?
No, we were sitting down near the field. I mean, they were good seats. They were good seats.
So like
That's a lot of popcorn.
$300 a piece for those seats?
Yeah, the stadium wasn't full.
Oh, I know they weren't.
Yeah, the stadium wasn't full.
Yeah.
But again, a beautiful stadium. Santa Clara's done a nice job. We stayed over there at the Hyatt. We walked 100 yards. I mean, it was really nice.
I tell you something. It's so much easier getting into that stadium. You have to drive. I live in Marin County, which is 70 miles north of the stadium, and I have to drive further. But it's easier getting in and out of that stadium than it is driving the shorter distance and going to Candlestick, which I hated to go to. God, for any crowd over 30,000 at Candlestick was a nightmare getting in and out of that place. I'm so
hours, but
I'm so glad.
Let's finish this one point
Yeah.
and move on. So,
Sure.
what's the number one sports in America? What's the number one sport viewed in America?
Football.
Team sport you're talking about?
College football, amateur sport.
College football. Really? I thought it was pro football.
So, no, it's college football.
College football gets bigger crowds on TV? I don't think
on
so.
TV?
No. Pro football is the number one.
There's 128 Division I, so there's 60 games a weekend. So
Sure.
you got to do the math, right?
Gotcha.
Right. But in terms of numbers, yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah. So when you do the numbers, but the point is, it's amateur sports. Look at the money that's spent. Look at the I'm an Oregon Duck. Look at the enthusiasm, the fanatic fans like me for amateur sports. So before we went last break, Edward said, "Well, what can we do?" Well, it was on ESPN, I think a year or two ago. It was street basketball. Do you guys remember that show?
Oh, I do. Hey, Coach, stay with that thought. When we come back, I want to hear about that street basketball. Okay, hold on. We got to cut to one more break here. Major League Baseball expanded its reach by adding how many new franchises in the 1960s?
Very good.
That's our
That's a good question.
All right. So you have to think about all the various teams that
Yeah.
were added to Major League Baseball in the 1960s.
I can tell you exactly how many. I bet you Coach knows the answer
He
too.
probably does. It's not the New York Yankees.
No.
Okay. All right. Stay with us. Sports Econ 101. I'll be right back. Sorry, Coach. We have hard breaks, and they are very strict with me on that.
Yeah, no, I
So, yeah, because I want to talk about that street. That was kind of an interesting show.
Yeah, I don't know where it is. I've been looking for it, and it did very well. And I don't know why it disappeared. Maybe the promoter. I don't know. But it did very well for a while, and it was very interesting to watch these guys from the street.
Yeah.
And they have all these interesting names competing.
Oh yeah. Sort of like the movie White Man Can't Jump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they happen to be all African American.
No, but I mean, like the movie though. 2 on 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that movie, White Man.
I know that's funny.
So I got the 8 teams here.
Really? Do you?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Edward Brown here along with Bruce McGowan. Here was our second trivia question. Major League Baseball expanded its reach by adding how many new franchises in the 1960s?
Interesting story here. There were 8 that were added total. 2 were added in 61. That would be the LA, later the Anaheim Angels, and the Washington Senators, who were actually the original Senators, moved to Minnesota. So Washington got an expansion team. Then in 62, Houston Colts, who later became the Astros and New York Mets, joined. And then in 69, Montreal and San Diego joined the National League, and Kansas City and Seattle, which later became Milwaukee, joined the American League. And, of course, Montreal moved on to Washington.
Now, who did the Senators become?
The Senators became the Twins, and then the new Senators became the Texas Rangers. So there's been 3 teams in Washington.
Very good.
Yeah, there you go.
I like that.
Interesting stuff.
All right, so Coach.
He's a smart guy. Now, wait, Nats were the Montreal Expos, right?
I'm sorry?
The Nationals.
The Nationals used to be the Montreal Expos.
Yeah, before that, they were, the Senators.
Hadn't been for a guy named Jeffrey Loria, they'd probably still be playing in Montreal. But he's the guy that basically.
Yeah, he owns the Eagles.
Yeah. Well, no, you're thinking of. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of. Yeah, it is Jeffrey Loria. He owns the. No, it's a different guy. I'm sorry. My brain is not working. You're right. Jeffrey Loria works with the Eagles. You're right. I'm thinking of a different guy.
All right, so Coach, when we cut to break, you were talking about this TV show like Street Basketball.
It was guys from the street all over the country: New York, Philadelphia, New Jersey, Las Vegas. It was really fun to see these amateur athletes who were pretty darn good, who I think were making literally either $0 or $1,000 a month, something like that,
to be on the show.
And it was entertaining.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm beating this thing up too much.
Well, remember, I think part of the college sports you were mentioning before, though, is people their alma mater, or in your case, you didn't go to Oregon, but your son did.
No,
right?
I went through the store. I went through the student store at Eugene, Oregon. Yeah, my son. Yeah.
It's interesting.
He has to, after about $500 of crap, he comes up to me and he puts his shoulder around me and says, "Dad, I got to get you out of the store now." Hey,
you mentioned something just a second ago, Coach, that kind of struck me. You were talking about street ball, and I remember, I don't know if you guys remember this, but back in the mid-'70s, early and mid-'70s, at NBA national televised games, they used to have a halftime special, and this went on for a couple of years. They'd take 2 of the top players in the NBA, and they'd play a one-on-one game to 7, I think, and then they'd play in different rounds. They'd have like Rick Barry going up against Dr. J, that actually play on a half court and play these games.
But would they be the teams that were playing?
No, they had nothing to do with it. I don't know how they got these guys to do this.
Come in.
I don't know how they did it, but it was very entertaining. I don't know if you guys remember.
I mean, I do remember Home Run Derby though.
Yeah.
You'd have Mickey Mantle versus
Will Mays. That's going way back. That's before your time. How do you remember that? That's before you were born.
No. Well. No,
you must have seen the replays.
No, because they continued in the 60s.
I don't remember it in the 60s.
Oh, no, I remember.
Yeah, I don't remember.
But I have seen some of the old clips in black and white, and it looked pretty crazy.
You know what's scary is when you look back, is the teams that you followed as a kid, you remember more distinctly than the teams that play today. For instance, I could name the entire starting lineup of the Pittsburgh Pirates in 1960, and the only reason I can remember that is because they're the first baseball champion I ever really knew about. So, Bill Mazeroski. Yeah, they had guys like Roberto Clemente, of course, Bill Verdon, Smokey Burgess, Don Hoke.
Some of your audience may remember, and you might too, Bruce, but you remember when Mickey Mantle was paid, his contract was $100,000.
Yeah.
People went bizarre, crazy.
They thought
How can you pay somebody $100,000 a year?
Didn't Babe Ruth either make 100 or his contract was sold for 100 or something?
He actually made 90. And
that's right, the president.
Yeah, somebody said, "You're making more than the president of the United States." He goes, "Well, I had a better year." Which is true.
Yeah, so can you imagine? I mean, Mickey played in the 50s, right, and 60s.
But he didn't make that until 1963.
Yeah, but Babe Ruth made that in 1927, 28.
Crazy.
I mean,
he was making more than the entire club.
Yeah.
In those days, the 1919 Black Sox, their top pitcher was a guy who would have gone to the Hall of Fame had he not disgraced himself by throwing games in the 1919 World Series.
So Bruce, you'll get what I'm going to say.
Okay.
So, and I say this on my own radio shows. Wouldn't the Dodgers or any team be better off taking some of that money and putting it back in the inner city to educate kids, to create programs, to build parks, to do more for the community. I'm talking about this all the time, that these billion-dollar corporations that take so much from the community could give so much back.
Yeah, no, they could. Yeah.
To their credit, have their ball players go into the community. But I'm talking about building parks, building schools, giving money to schools, rather than paying athletes that are not worthy of the money. Give the money to the inner city.
Yeah, I agree. I'd love to see professional sports be a little more altruistic to the communities that support them and make them millions and billions of dollars. I think they owe it to those communities, and I think a lot of businesses do. But again, I'm one of those people who believes that it's a two-way street, and a lot of Americans unfortunately don't subscribe.
I mean,
to that.
I do believe in free enterprise.
Oh, sure, but make money, but share some of the wealth.
Yeah, but really, does an athlete really need to make more than $5 million a year?
Well, I don't. The making of that kind of money for the athletes, I don't begrudge the athletes as much. The owners are making 10 times that. And nobody bitches about that.
I want to get into robots. for a step, but here's my last point. So when Clayton Kershaw, you got your calculator there, Bruce. When Clayton Kershaw pitches, he puts another 7,000, 8,000 people in the stands.
Right.
So take your calculator out.
I got it.
So if the average patron, let's spend with parking, food, and ticket, I'm being conservative, let's say $150
per person.
Okay, per person.
Right.
And say 7,000. What is that per night?
That's $1 million, $1,050,000.
Wow.
Times 30.
Yeah.
That's
So he'll pitch.
$31 million.
Yeah, he'll probably pitch 35 times, 17 at home, 17 on the road, one, either way.
Yeah. So how much is that?
Well, the full amount was $31,500,000. So half of that, if they're doing a home game.
Yeah. Well, he's worth it. Now, there's a guy who's worth it. There's a guy, you don't mind paying money to see a guy like that because he's going to the Hall of Fame.
Well, it's interesting. You mentioned about how many people in the stands and all that. And first thing I thought of was the royal family in England, right? It's like, in theory, they don't want to do anything, right? And yet they're super, super wealthy. But then someone brought up the point that just the fact that they're there brings in billions of dollars of tourism because people want to see Buckingham Palace. And, I got a glimpse of Prince Charles or whatever, Prince whoever is the prince at the time. And so from that end of it, they actually are worth their salt.
Sure.
All right, let's move on. Yeah. I got to take over this show here.
Okay.
Let's move on. Michigan's football team.
Good old Jim Harbaugh, my buddy. I got to work with him for a year when he was at Stanford. His last year at Stanford, we did a regular show, and boy, what a character that guy is. One time.
I hear about it, but I want to ask you a question. So Michigan spends $800,000 taking their team over to Rome for a week. Who paid for it?
The
guys know?
University of Michigan Athletic Department paid for it.
No, it was a secret donor.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
A secret donor.
They allowed that? That's kind of conflict of interest, isn't it?
Exactly. So there has to be some collusion. I think the Russians are involved here.
They're involved. They're trying to steal our good athletes. Yeah.
It's all Bush's fault.
Yeah.
The Detroit News
W.
first reported the figure. The cost being covered by an anonymous donor.
Oh, I don't doubt it. There's some deep pockets. There's some people out there that are very kind of quiet. They don't want anybody to know their name, but they're the power behind the throne. Yeah.
How come nobody's doing an investigation either?
I think it's probably because it's like, it's football or it's sports, it's entertainment. It's not that big a deal. Yeah, you're right. It probably is worth it. Yeah, it's not national, but it's probably worth it. It'd be just from a standpoint of interest. It'd be fascinating to find out what's the motivation.
So, what do you guys think? Watching, so I watch the Dodgers every night on the Spectrum down here in LA.
My deepest sympathies.
I see probably, I'm not exaggerating, 30% of the calls made by the umpire behind the plate wrong. What if we put a robot behind
Wow.
Well, they did it. You know what? They actually had that up here in San Rafael.
Yeah,
at
with the Pacifics.
San Rafael Pacifics.
Yeah, our minor league team.
Not international, independent
Independent league.
professional league, and they actually did have the
for a
robot.
game.
Yeah,
for a whole game. It was interesting to watch.
Are you serious?
yeah.
No, they did. It was last year. It was a great promotional idea. I mean, they're very innovative. Those people over there with Pacifics.
Oh yeah, and Eric Burns was
Eric.
like he I guess would call in case it was a play at home.
Yeah, he'd make the call.
Yeah.
Eric Burns, the former A's.
Okay, well, you guys rock. Was that a real robot?
Yeah, no real robot. Well, it wasn't
I mean,
like
it was more of a computer.
Yeah, it was more of a computer. They didn't have a robotic-looking creature.
On ESPN last weekend, they had a robots fighting each other. Did you see that?
No.
No, I try not to watch ESPN too
You
much.
guys are apparently not into robots. Am I right on this?
I'm not much. I'm not much in
they're kinda
ESPN to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of what they've done to our industry.
Well, I'm telling you, robots are coming into sports. Look at baseball now.
Yeah.
Plays being reviewed every 5
Yeah.
Yeah, look at basketball. They review in hockey and basketball and football. They're reviewing everything. It's ridiculous. Let them make the mistakes. I don't care.
No. Don't you remember we talked about this and we said get the play right? No, you're starting
the
to
the human element makes it more interesting. Look at the Franco Harris play. Never would have happened in this day and age because they would have gotten it right. The Tom Brady thing, you know.
Right. I know you hate to agree with them, but
Wait, back up for a minute. Okay, I'm a big Raiders fan. However, when you keep looking at all of the replays back and forth, because they called it on the field as a touchdown, it would stayed as a touchdown.
You're talking about which one?
Fuqua, with the Franco Harris.
You know, they actually didn't make the announcement that it was a touchdown for about 5 minutes.
I remember that.
And all the fans were on the field, and this is what actually happened, according to several players who overheard it. Ben Schwerington, the head linesman, goes over to the dugout, gets on the phone, calls upstairs. He goes, "How much security do I have on the field?" "You've got 6 guys." He goes, "Touchdown!" I'm not changing a call. Touchdown.
I mean, but even well, that's true.
That's a fact.
That's true.
That
No, I know. I'm just saying that in looking at the replays, it really is still really hard to tell.
Yeah. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's amazing to me how they get it right most of the time.
Yeah. Well, and okay, so the last game of the basketball, between the Warriors and the Cavs, the refs seemed to make a lot of errors, but they made them on both sides.
Sure.
So the game, I don't think it was really determined one way or the other on that.
They stop the game, you go to the video, and I agree with Bruce. Let's put the human back into these sports.
Yeah.
It stops the momentum. And in certain sports, like in football and even baseball and probably basketball, momentum is a big part of the team coming
Well, listen, I say we do it like we did at the YMCA. You make your own calls. If you got fouled, you say, "Hey, I got fouled."
On a serious note, though, technology is responsible for this. With all of the HD television now, and it's so clear in all the replays since 2004, they've had to have replays because it's so obvious when a bad call is made, the fans are going to go crazy and they're going to show it they're going to show it on the big screen. They do this at Warrior games, and I think it's really wrong when they show them a bad mistake by a referee.
No, I love it.
I don't like that. It's not right.
No, I like
Put
it.
that poor guy in a bad spot.
Too bad. You got to make the right call.
Oh,
I'm Dr. Evil here.
Oh, yes, you
Okay,
are.
hey guys, we're going to cut to our last commercial right here. We're talking about baseball for grandpas.
Baseball for grandpas.
Okay, now let's see if you know this one. Which season saw the last World Series to have a best-of-9 game format? Do you know that one? Finally, I stumped the
I think I may have it.
Really?
Yeah.
Son of a gun. Okay. Well, when we come back, you're going to answer that question, all right? Don't touch that dial. Sports Econ 101. We'll be right back with some closing comments. All right. You know that one?
I think
Get
I do.
out of here.
I think I do.
Well,
It was only like a couple of years.
no, I think they did for
4 or 5 years, right? Yeah, I think it was like it was right before the 1920s.
right before the Civil War.
Yeah, before the Civil War.
You know what I didn't bring up, which is a symptom of what could happen to every sport, is NASCAR's audience in the park is off 50%.
Yeah, NASCAR it was very popular for a few years, and it just dropped precipitously.
Unless there's a big crash, I can't get into
Golf
it.
has also dropped since Tiger's fallen.
It's expensive to go to a race.
Yeah.
Food was expensive. 3 hours to get into the park, 3.5 hours to get out.
It's a great value for your money is golf. golf tickets, believe it or not, unless you go to the big events, are not that expensive. They're about $40 or $50.
Really
Yeah, we just walk around.
Just walk around. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to pay a ton of money.
All right, you guys ready? We're going
Yes.
to close this bad boy up. We only have a couple of minutes. We're going to make this one fast. Here we go. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Last time for today, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Bruce McGowan, and our special guest, Coach Ron Tunick. Third trivia question. Which season saw the last World Series to have a best-of-9 game format?
Now, it was pre-1920s, back in the teens sometime, but I can't give you the exact year. Well, what was it?
1921.
1921.
Giants beating the Yankees.
5 games to 3.
And it was the first World Series appearance for the Yankees.
And the Giants beat them the next year, too, and then the Yankees beat them in 23. So they played each other 3 times. That's never happened before or since.
Wait, that wasn't 3 in a row, though.
Yep, 3 in a row. The Giants,
I thought the
Giants played the Yankees 3 years in a row, 21, 22, and 23, and the Yanks won the third, and that was the first year at Yankee Stadium, 1923.
Can I just get a question here sideways to you guys? I'm watching the U.S. Open. Bubba Watson, on his shoes, is wearing a big G4. What is that?
I have no idea.
G4?
Watch the U.S. Open and watch Bubba Watson.
I have to check that out.
Okay, we'll have to check that out. Hey, guys, we have to cut out for today, so we're going to give our thoughts for the day. These are actually quotes for the day.
Quotes
right?
for the day.
Charles Barkley on whether he had any regrets about throwing a bar patron through a first-floor window. Yeah, I regret we weren't on a higher floor.
That sounds like Charles.
Charles sounds like that,
Yeah.
exactly. And Steve Spurrier, remember him?
Sure.
He said on a fire at the Auburn football players' dorm that burned 20 books. He said, but the real tragedy was that 15 hadn't been colored yet. Oopers.
Oops.
Okay, so Coach Ron Tunick, thank you again for joining us. We're going to definitely have you back on again.
Always my pleasure, you guys. Have a great day.
All right, you made the show excellent yet again. All right, so tune in next week to Sports Econ 101. Why? Because we're going to be discussing sports topics from a business perspective. We're also going to be asking some more sports trivia questions. And Bruce, do we have a guest yet?
We're working on it.
We're working on it. We keep trying to get this one guest, and he keeps bagging on us.
He's a weasel.
We're not going to mention his name. No.
Yeah. The weasel. We're not going to get him.
All right, on behalf of our team.
Go away. We don't like you. You or your lousy team.
Okay, thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm your host, Edward Brown. We'll see you next week.
Good night, America.
So long.
All right, Coach.
All right, guys.
Nice job, you guys.
All right,
Good job.
very good. Thanks, guys.
Take care, Coach. Good. Nice talking to you again.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Nice guy.
yeah, he's a very nice guy. He does
Good
good
sense of
radio,
humor.
too.
Good sense of humor.
Yeah.